So, you think you know the Dodge Challenger Hellcat? That fire-breathing monster on wheels that makes your heart skip a beat? Buckle up for 21 lesser-known facts about this beast. From its supercharged history to its tire-shredding capabilities, we'll uncover hidden secrets and explore its wild side. Now, you might think the name Hellcat was chosen just because it sounds cool. And let's be honest, it does sound rather good, doesn't it? But there's more to it than just a catchy name. The Hellcat badge is a tribute to the Grumman F6F Hellcat, a World War II fighter plane. So when you see a Hellcat on the road, know this: it's got a legacy of dominance in its DNA. Now, imagine a world where the Hellcat remained just a twinkle in some engineer's eye. The top brass at Chrysler initially balked at the idea of unleashing this beast upon the world, but thankfully, for those of us who appreciate a good dose of automotive lunacy, someone high up had a moment of clarity, or maybe just a caffeine overdose, and decided to greenlight the project. Let's talk about that sound, shall we? That glorious, high-pitched whine that announces a Hellcat's arrival long before you see it. It sends shivers down your spine. Some think it's just a byproduct of a massive supercharger, but they'd be wrong. Engineers tuned it to sing a specific song, Get Out of My Way. It's a soundtrack that matches the Hellcat's raw power. They say money can't buy happiness, but it can buy you a Hellcat, which is pretty much the same thing, right? You'll need a bottomless pit of cash for fuel, because this thing drinks gasoline like it's going out of style. We're talking 1.5 gallons per minute at full throttle, so if you're planning a road trip, pack a spare fuel tanker. Owning a Hellcat isn't just about buying it and getting the keys, there's more. The Hellcat has 2 key fobs, each with a unique role. The red key unleashes 707 horsepower, turning it into a missile on wheels. The black key limits you to 500 horsepower. Drag mode? In a street car? What are they teaching these engineers? But before you dismiss it, hear me out. The Hellcat's drag mode isn't just a gimmick. It's designed to turn this beast into a quarter-mile monster. Optimized suspension, traction control, and enough electronic wizardry to make Elon Musk jealous. So next time you pull up to a set of lights and see a Hellcat, remember, it might have a trick or two up its sleeve. Now let's talk about those hips. No, not yours, you cheeky devil. I'm talking about the Hellcat's wide-body kit. Those flared arches and bulging fenders aren't just for show, you know. They serve a very important purpose, to accommodate tires wider than a politician's promise. Those wider tires are the difference between rocketing off the line and ending up wrapped around a lamppost. Now I know what you're thinking. Launch control? That'll be a doddle. Just point the car in the right direction, floor the throttle, and try not to spill my pint. Well, my friend, you'd be wrong. Launching a Hellcat properly is an art form, a delicate dance between man and machine. It requires the reflexes of a ninja, the concentration of a chess grandmaster, and the bravery of a lion tamer. Now let's talk about tires, shall we? Specifically, the Pirelli P0 tires that come as standard on the Hellcat. These aren't your average run-of-the-mill tires. These are high-performance, grip-like glue, can handle anything you throw at them tires. But when you've got 707 horses itching to break free, even the stickiest tires in the world are going to struggle. So don't be surprised if you find yourself shelling out for a new set of rubber every other week. Let's talk about speed. The Hellcat has plenty of it. 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, but that's just the start. With the right setup, it can hit low 3s, and that is seriously quick. Now let's talk about noise. The Hellcat isn't known for being quiet. That exhaust note, that thunderous roar, is part of the experience. It's a sound that says, I'm here, I'm loud, and I wouldn't have it any other way. For those who appreciate whimsy with horsepower, the Hellcat has a surprise. Hidden in its dashboard is an Easter egg to make you smile at 200 mph. It involves a certain feline in speed. It's Dodge's way of saying, you're one of us now. Now let's talk about color, specifically Sublime Green. It's a color that screams, look at me, a color that's about as subtle as a kick in the teeth. Sublime Green isn't just a color, it's a statement. And the Hellcat, draped in that vibrant hue, is a rolling tribute to the golden age of muscle cars. Now you might think that owning a Hellcat means sacrificing any semblance of peace and quiet. But fear not, my friend, for the Hellcat has a hidden talent. It can be quiet. Buried deep within its settings menu is a magical button labeled Quiet Mode. Engage this mystical function and the Hellcat transforms from a roaring monster into a purring kitten. Well, almost. The Dodge Challenger Hellcat? What a mouthful. Why not just call it the Supercharged Challenger? And you know what? You'd be right. But before you write angry letters to Dodge, there was a debate about what to call it. Thankfully, cooler heads prevailed. Now let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the rhinoceros on the scales. The Hellcat is a big car. We're talking over 4,400 pounds of American muscle here, which is heavier than some pickup trucks. But here's the thing, when you've got 707 horsepower at your disposal, weight becomes a relative term. It's all about the power-to-weight ratio. Now let's talk about the heart of the beast, the engine. Because this isn't some mass-produced, run-of-the-mill lump of metal. Each Hellcat engine is hand-built by a select team of Chrysler's finest engineers. We're talking about skilled craftsmen and women who treat each engine with the care and attention of a Swiss watchmaker. They hand-assemble each component, ensuring every single engine is a work of art. Now let's face it, there are times when you have to hand over the keys to your beloved Hellcat. But the thought of some pimply teenager taking your pride and joy for a joyride is enough to make you sweat. Well, fear not, my friend, for Dodge has thought of everything. They've equipped the Hellcat with a special feature called Valet Mode. Now, you might think this is just a fancy way of saying limp mode, but you'd be wrong. Now, gather round, children, and let me tell you a tale of automotive woe and resurrection. Once upon a time, Dodge announced that the Hellcat, that glorious, tire-shredding, fuel-guzzling monster, was no more. The news sent shockwaves through the automotive world. But then, just when all hope seemed lost, a miracle occurred. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the Hellcat returned with some limited edition models. Now, with its bulging hood, massive tires, and an exhaust note that could wake the dead, the Hellcat isn't exactly what you'd call inconspicuous. But believe it or not, this beast has a secret. It can blend in, slip it into eco mode, and the throttle response softens. The transmission shifts early, and the exhaust note drops to a low rumble. It's enough to make you forget that you're behind the wheel of a 707 horsepower monster. Almost. Now, you might think that 707 horsepower is enough for anyone, and you'd be right. It's more power than you'll ever need on the road. But here's the thing about us petrolheads. We're never satisfied. With a few choice modifications, a bigger supercharger, a freer flowing exhaust, maybe a little nitrous injection, you can easily push this beast well beyond the 1,000 horsepower mark. Because when it comes to the Hellcat, there's always more to be had. There you have it, 21 facts about the Challenger Hellcat that just might make you want one even more, or make you reconsider your sanity. It's a car that's as impractical as it is exhilarating, as ridiculous as it is brilliant. It's a car that defies logic and embraces lunacy. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more automotive insanity, and let us know in the comments, what's your favorite Hellcat fact?